You're watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.
Welcome to Training Camp, exclusively on CBT News. I'm your host, Adam Marburger. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a black belt in F&I. This show is designed to help automotive professionals enhance their operations. And today we've got a special treat for you. My dear friend, the compliance expert, Mr. Compliance himself, Mr. Jim Ganther. How are you, my friend?
I am very well. I am thinking of myself now as a black belt in American compliance and a black belt in barbecue. That may define it.
Now, which one do you like more? Because I know you're very passionate about compliance and barbecue. If you could pick one full time, which one are you going with, Jim?
Oh, it's tough, but I'll say why. I love what I do in the compliance space because one of the mottos we have at Mosaic is simply make it better. And I think we work every day to make the car buying and the car selling experience better. And that's a good thing. Barbecue is much more personalized. I'm not necessarily changing the world or even the country, but I may change your opinions and your personal life one bite of brisket at a time. And I find that incredibly rewarding.
I love it. I love it. So let's just get right into compliance. You know, what is the hot topic of the week, right? There's just been so much going on, this year alone. I can't believe, we're peeking into July. We're almost in July. Half the year's gone. Lots of developments. We've had a lot of talk about tariffs. That seems to be kind of fading out a little bit. We were talking about the CARS rule previously on the show together. So what's the hot topic today, Jim?
Believe it or not, and this may sound self-serving, but it happens to be true, is the hot topic is compliance itself. There's been something like a rug pull that has happened in the last 6 months. Remember, it's only been barely 6 months since Trump was inaugurated for, Trump 2.0. And it looked like the dealership community was on this incredible positive roll, like we can take the foot off the compliance gas for a while. And there's a lot of evidence that would suggest that should have been true. But it turns out it's not. Let's recap the last 6 months. Trump gets inaugurated. Shortly thereafter, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals overturns the CARS rule. That was great news. We could see the CARS rule as being something like the high watermark of regulatory overreach in the dealership community. And it's been receding since then. And I think it should. After that, Trump issued an executive order and said throughout the federal government, to the extent possible, we are no longer prosecuting disparate impact discrimination claims. That too is a good thing. And that's not saying that discrimination is good. Discrimination is bad. But there's such a thing as disparate treatment. So there are two types of discrimination. Disparate treatment, Irish need not apply. That's disparate treatment. It's easy to see, it's easy to prosecute, and it's dead bang wrong. Then there's disparate impact. Disparate impact is, your non-discriminatory policies may have a discriminatory impact on a protected class. And it's squishy because the burden of proof is lower, and it's really hard to prove if anyone has actually been harmed. The FTC, the CFPB, could collect a $100 million fine. They have no idea who to give it to because nobody complained of actual disparate treatment. You may have had disparate impact. That's gone. And that is, I believe, a good thing, and it's a good thing for dealers. What else? The Trump administration has repealed 67 so far 67 CFPB compliance guidance documents. Okay. These are things you should be suing people for, look for. And they were kind of sus. This administration has dropped, again, as of this filming, dropped at least 21 CFPB enforcement actions, and we've seen a significant reduction in the number of FTC enforcement actions. But I am getting phone calls from dealers that are something close to panic. I've literally had dealers call me, Ganther, can you do a seminar for all of our general managers because we're concerned? Why? I can think of 3 reasons why dealers are more worried about compliance today than they were a year ago. Reason number 1 is the blue states. And that may not be fair, but it is true that where the federal government is taking the foot off the gas with respect to certain enforcement actions or theories of enforcement, state governments are picking up the slack, and it tends to be in what we call the blue states. The state of New York, for example, is actively advertising. They're soliciting applications for jobs from people who are agents or enforcement personnel from the CFPB saying, come to our state, we will give you a job. Because state laws may still extend these theories of recovery that the federal government is not. And what does AG stand for, Adam?
Attorney General.
No, it stands for aspiring governor. Every
True
attorney general.
True statement. Yeah.
Every attorney general wants to be the governor, and there's actually a greater political incentive for enforcement actions at the state and local level than there is at the federal level. Nobody's going to vote for a particular presidential candidate because they came down on a car dealership. But at the state and local level, you see the opposite. I would be more worried about California state enforcement than I would be about federal enforcement. Second thing, and this gets to the substance of the Trump administration's approach to regulatory enforcement. They are not letting up on what we could call real harm enforcement. If a consumer is actually harmed, this administration is not giving you a pass. They're taking the squishy enforcement and they're applying it to real enforcement. So if you are doing bad things that actually cost consumers dollars, you're probably in worse risk, greater danger today than a year ago. Third and finally, and this is where I'm seeing something resembling real panic, is the concept of personal liability. Now, personal liability has been around forever. FTC, attorneys general, they sue a dealership, they sue a dealership group, they sue the corporate entity, and they may or may not sue individuals, the dealer principal, the owner, the general manager, the F&I manager who did the dirty deed. The difference is, historically, the amount of money sought from the individuals has been relatively small, like close to actual damages, and the global settlement of the case is going to embrace the individual. So typically the dealer group is the one that's going to be paying its employees or its owners fines. That changed dramatically in December. One of the last things that happened on an enforcement basis under the Biden administration was the AutoCanada case. And in that case, the FTC, in cooperation with the state of Illinois Attorney General, sued a Canadian-based publicly traded dealer group called AutoCanada that had 10 stores in the greater Chicago area. And they were trading under the Leader Automotive. And they sought $216 million from multiple corporate entities and one individual, a guy named Jimmy Duvas. And in December, the complaint was filed on the 19th of December, and the joint motion for stipulated settlement was filed on the same day. The FTC in Illinois settled with all of the corporate entities, AutoCanada and Leader Automotive in the United States, for a total of $20 million. And I believe that is the most money ever assessed against a dealer group, ever. But here's the wrinkle. They did not settle with Jimmy Duvas. They kept one defendant. They settled with a corporate publicly traded dealer group, settled for 20 million bucks, and they went after the individual who was not an owner, he was not a GM, he was the vice president of operations for the 10 American stores for that platform. And they're going after Jimmy Duvas for, are you sitting down? Yes, I see you're sitting. $216 million.
Wow.
Earlier this month, he moved to dismiss that case. And that motion was denied by the judge. So it's continuing against him individually for $216 million. And I've actually been texting back and forth with Mr. Duvas, just asking him questions about the case. What the heck is really going on here? I cannot speak to anything he's told me without his permission, which I didn't ask for, and so I didn't get. But I will say that what he's being accused of doing, we've seen in maybe most dealerships every day. One of the allegations, you can't make this up. One of the allegations in the complaint is that Jimmy Duvas attempted to maximize the profit on every transactions. Clutch my pearls.
That's what we're trained to do.
When did that become illegal? But here's the catch, Adam. This lawsuit was filed under the Biden administration, and we might have expected that, but it's being continued by the Trump administration, and they opposed Mr. Duvas's motion to dismiss the $216 million lawsuit. That, to me, is the surprise, and it's a surprise to the broader dealer community. People are talking about this case, and maybe we end this thought, this segment with this thought. Why do you use a sledgehammer on a fly? Not for the fly, but for all the flies that are watching. And it seems to me that the FTC is putting the world on notice that if we think you actually harmed consumers, we're not going to show any mercy. The takeaway, now is the time to examine what is your compliance management posture. Do you have a compliance management system in place? Is it doing its job? Are you auditing? Are you training? Do you have policy? All of these things are vital, and now is the time to make sure you have them in place.
We'll wrap this segment up with a question. What you just said, we do need to get our house in order. Compliance isn't something that we need to be casual about. We can't be lukewarm about. In your professional opinion, what percentage of new car franchise dealers, I don't know if you have the data to back this up, or if you have a great educated guess, what percentage of the dealers do not have their houses in order from a compliance standpoint?
Probably half. I would say that 75% think they have their house in order. I think there are half that are out there that are defensible. Everybody can tweak, improve. Nobody is perfect. But I think that about half of the franchise new dealership community is in a colorably compliant posture, demonstrably compliant. If you just take my client list, Comply Auto's client list, KPA's compliant list, those are dealerships that are spending money every month to do the right thing. Not everyone who uses the services of those companies necessarily uses them in good faith. I mean, some guys see it as a necessary evil. The attitude from the top is the most important thing. You really do want GMs and owners who sincerely want to do the right thing and simply document it. Yeah. But that leaves half that are probably at pretty significant risk. And I'm saying there's always this 10% that's doing the stuff that gets in the papers. 10% bad actors, 40% really need to start taking it seriously. But that 40%, those are the guys who are going to be caught and, not fight it, pay the fine, make the changes, do good.
Yeah.
That 10% is what gives us all a bad reputation. And I have hope that 10% is going to change its ways. And maybe the basis for my hope might be what we talk about next time.
Yeah, and I love that. Well, first of all, I do want to thank you for being a contributor here, because the compliance corner that you and I do is, in the F&I space, when we go train F&I people, compliance is definitely not the sexiest topic for an F&I manager. I'm a recovering F&I manager, so I completely understand what
I'm
it's
a
like
recovering attorney.
I know what it's like to be a prima donna. The world's about me. Bring me the deals. Like, the old school. I get all that. But what you just said was critical. GMs and owners, they can lose everything that they built. It could happen quickly. It could happen overnight, and we can be proactive and not reactive. I see dealers. I hear this a lot. You know what? Nothing's happened to us yet. We'll just figure it out when the time comes. But when the time comes and you're talking about a $5 million, $2 million, $20 million fine, you might be shutting your lights off for good at that point. So I do want to thank you, as always, coming in, giving us this incredible knowledge. Thank you for your time. I know you're in between travels, so we like having you in the studio, which today, unfortunately, you weren't able to be here. So coming in and Zooming means the world to us, and we're going to see you here sooner than later, my friend.
All right. Thanks for having me, Adam.
Thank you for joining another episode of Training Camp exclusively on CBT News. I want to say this to you. If nothing changes, nothing changes. You've got to be willing to take action in your stores. You've got to be willing to do things different. And another thing, training's not something that we did. It's something that we must do, and we must do it on a continuous basis. And just never forget this. Fights are not won in the ring. Fights are not won in the cage. Fights are won in training camp. It's that training and development. The things you do in private become known in public, my friends. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.